All right, welcome to Buddy Book Club. I'm Dylan, here with the wheelman to my heart, Keith. What's up, buddy?
Thank you. It's been too long. It's been way too long.
Indeed it has. We're flipping the script this week. I think we told people last time we were going to be reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which we are reading and we will be doing shortly. But we were working two books at once, and we buzzed through this one, which is S.A. Cosby's Blacktop Wasteland. So we're going to go through this one first. And as always on the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers. And this week we'll be discussing that book, Blacktop Wasteland. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us on past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes and Spotify, so please download and subscribe. Let's just run into it quickly with some stock up, stock down. We'll start there, and we'll continue with a few other categories. But Keith, what do you have for stock up?
First thing, stock up, analogies and similes.
Oh, there's a ton of similes in this book.
And this stock is way, way up after this book. I like to talk in analogies and similes. I can never think of good ones, but I like doing them and thinking of good ones. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that feels better than someone says, like, dang, that's actually a good analogy. You know, that's one of the best feelings you can get. Yeah. But this book was chocked full of them. And a lot of them were super funny.
Do you have some for us?
Oh, yeah. I got a bunch for you here. I'm going to go through. The thing is, too, I go on a hike and I do like the notes app, and I will tell Siri what I want it to say. And she butchers it 99% of the time. So some of these I lost in the shuffle because I'm like, what the fuck was I saying there? Yeah. But here's the ones I got. Guns are like good friends that are always down to do bad things. Love it. Love it. This is a great one. Sweet talk her until she has type 2 diabetes.
What?
He wasn't robbing Peter to pay Paul. They were both mugging him. Good. Solid. You don't call a fish dumb because it can't climb a tree. And these are my two favorite, which I'm both familiar with. His hairline was retreating like Lee at Gettysburg.
Yeah, that one was good. I remember seeing that. I was like, wasn't it more like General Pickett? You know, are we getting too?
Nah, I mean, I don't think people would know that. You can't get too into the weeds on that, you know?
Yeah.
And then listen to your gut. The day you don't, it's going to be a shitty situation. I like that.
I feel like there was
probably 10 more I missed, but there were so many good ones, and they were all like funny, which is good. So I really appreciated it.
The one that I had, and I don't even know if it's an analogy or a simile, whatever.
I don't know if I'm using those words right either, by the way. Sorry.
But he says, let me see how I can put this. You fucked up so bad, you might want to find your mama, crawl up in her snatch, and try again. Sean, a.k.a. S.A., some phenomenal ones there. Do you think they were too much? Was it too much, or was it just the right amount for you? Because sometimes they were a bit overbearing.
So yeah, the times when I wouldn't want them is when you're like in the midst of an action sequence. And I thought he was actually really good at writing action, but like you almost don't want to be taken out of it with like some analogy you have to think about. When it was kind of explaining families and doing like some of that more storyline stuff, I liked them. I liked them a lot.
That's fair. I enjoyed them to the fullest. I thought they were really good. It didn't take away from the story at all, and sometimes it was one of those things where I didn't even realize that there were so many like analogies or similes, whatever, going on until I'd like pause it and would reread and say, "Oh, that was great." Because I was like, I think that's what I heard, but is that actually what I heard? I want to say my first stock up is having a car that you love. Because no one loves a car more than our boy Beauregard loves his Duster. And it's a bit confusing to me whether it's a stock up or not, because he was willing to sacrifice anything to keep the car. Over and over again, he'd have conversations with his wife, and he'd be like, oh, I got to go do some crazy shit, you know? And she'd be like, well, you could just sell the car. And he'd be like, not an option. Not an option. Yeah. And we're not talking... Like the car's worth $25,000, so that would get him out of the hole. It's not like this was one of those cars that's like 1 in 10. Like you can never buy it back. He could probably have figured out a way to pay the people off, all right, put himself in a better position, and then buy the car back, potentially, right?
Yeah, he could have like pawned it or given it to his uncle as like collateral, you know, like, hey, I need a loan, but here's my car in case I can never pay it back. At least it stays in the family. Booney was his uncle, right?
I don't know if it was his uncle or like his dad's best friend. Yeah, I want to say the fact that he has something in his life that's worth more to him than his son's life, which is really what it came down to. I just have a deep level of respect for anyone. I go on walks with a dog early in the morning, and there's this guy who's out there every day just waxing his car. Every morning, 7 a.m., waxing the car. I'm like, wow, that is some serious commitment. Like, I would rather be doing 10,000 other things than waxing a car. Beauregard was also willing to do 10,000 things, including risk his entire family's life.
To be fair, he didn't know that it was mob, owned. But yeah, agreed.
Oh, I understand that, but at the same time, it's like we're going to this jewelry store and like shit might go down. It's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And then like some guy gets shot, and it's like, yeah, stuff went bad. He's like, all right, don't worry about it. Hey, stock up, having a car you love. What else you got?
Goodfellas, stock up. Obviously, very, very high stock already. It's well known. Although the SGF does not like Goodfellas. It's one of the only movies I've shown her that she does not care for.
Really? What's her gripe?
Just too over-the-top violent, which we love. I mean,
we're having troubles with the SGF here with Sopranos on that front.
Well, me and her on the same page there. Sopranos sucks. But, hot take. Too much? Take. Too hot?
Way too hot. Way too hot.
Yeah. The one thing in Goodfellas, anytime I rewatch it, I always feel bad is like when they start just killing off everyone. I'm always like, did we need to do that? Like, especially Samuel L. Didn't love that. Didn't love him getting killed off. There's a couple other guys there that I felt like would have kept their mouths shut. This book, the opposite though. Right when the heist is over, I'm like, he's got a good fellow. These people, like, get rid of Quan. That dude's not trustworthy. Get rid of Ronnie. Like, get these dudes out of the picture. Like, we need to kill them off. And because he didn't, Goodfellas. He ends up getting his family caught up in this. He ends up almost getting killed himself multiple times. So, Goodfellas, stock up. I was wrong. Hand up there.
This is Beauregard Montage. Great name, by the way. Really phenomenal name.
Yeah.
That might be my next stock up. Great main character names. Beauregard Montage. This might be his version of the Lufthansa heist.
Mm-hmm.
He knows Ronnie is holding back on him. And you also know that Ronnie's not trustworthy. Reggie, I kind of feel bad for Reggie, in truth. You know, Reggie kind of got rolled up in this, and it's not necessarily his fault. But Quan, useless. Ronnie, useless. They're not good people anyways, especially once it goes bad and you know that, okay, these guys were seen, whatever, the shots are fired. Beauregard plans for everything. Why don't you have a plan B where everyone goes into the water and you're the only one that comes out once, they drop the truck off or whatever?
You don't go into business with people that have nothing to lose. Beauregard has everything to lose. His wife, his kids.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever, we don't give a fuck, we kill people. It's like nothing to them because they have nothing to lose. You don't want to go into business with them. And then obviously the other comparison with Goodfellas is Ronnie buys that brand new or somewhat newish Mustang, just like the pink Cadillac.
Yeah, the pink Cadillac, exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. I think we got to kill him off. And he didn't have an issue. He had no issue killing people off.
It's going to tie into my stock down, so I might as well just say it right now, which is getting involved in illegal activities with dimwits and or drug addicts. I mean, this stock is already down, but for some reason in film and movies, it happens all the time. And I know Beauregard is backed up into a wall here. Like, I get it. He has no other option but to get into business with Ronnie. But everyone around him, all the people he trusts, are saying, don't do this. Ronnie's an idiot, whatever. And then he continues to do it even though there's so many issues. He hands him the burner. He's like, hey, use this burner phone. Ronnie doesn't use the burner. He's sending texts to the jewelry store chick like, yeah, after this heist, we're going to go and I'm going to blow cocaine out your butt. It's like, what, dude? And then the second
Nothing wrong with that.
The second that Quan was like, this is my favorite gun. And he's like, I'm taking it. It's my favorite gun. And it's a nickel-plated Desert Eagle. Like, the most conspicuous gun to ever exist. I feel like Beauregard would be like, hey, I can just sell the shop. Like, I can do anything else. Yes, I'm stuck in this trailer. Life isn't going well. You're just sitting there the whole time being like, there has to be a different way because these guys are absolute buffoons. And then, like you said, when Ronnie pulls up with the Mustang, you're like, okay, this is all going to shit. This is terrible.
Well, I mean, I think in the criminal enterprise, you're not going to typically get, the smartest people out there, other than Beauregard. Beauregard's really just a good con man. Like all the stuff he plans and stuff is like really great con, like men job, So he's actually pretty smart, but everyone else sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I understand he's in a tight spot, but aren't there other groups, like other criminal groups who need a wheelman? Baby Driver, seen it? They hire some child. There has to be someone else who needs a good wheelman, who the plan is set. There's a bunch of smart guys. All they need is a smart, keep your lips shut wheelman, right?
Yeah.
Why isn't he working for Shade? Why doesn't he go straight to, who's the other guy's name?
Lazy. I thought Lazy too was going to be like, oh, this guy is the best driver. I'm going to kill these other guys off. They're useless. And
yeah.
Now you work for me. Like,
yeah,
that would have
exactly.
made more sense also.
My last stock up was having a friend with a junkyard. It just seems like the best. If you need anything done, he's like, oh, okay. And so many times they're just like, all right, I drove the car to his yard and they crushed it. Like, okay, it's over. Right. Like, they just make it seem like that's it after that. Like, this guy's working like some sort of side hustle, criminal enterprise out of his junkyard, but the cops never come asking around. He's like, all right, I put 2 bodies in the trunk and we crushed it. Like, game over, done. Like, that's all it takes. Like, no one's ever going to look there.
It's like GTA when you just like get the star ratings gone. It's like, well, he went to the junkyard. It's over. The stars are gone now.
It's exactly like that. And if I could have a last stock up, it would be Grand Theft Auto, because I felt like this book was one of those quests, because everything happens in a row. Like, it's like, oh, okay, in GTA, it's like, we have to go and rob this jewelry store. Like, you're going to drive. It's like, all right, cool. Kids behind the car. It's like, chapter 2 is shit went wrong. Now you have to do this. Bring the car to the junkyard. It made me actually want to play GTA again, which I haven't played since I was like 13 years old. And I enjoyed it very much then. So why wouldn't I enjoy it now? Sorry, I had like a lightning storm of stock ups there, but what do you got for stock down?
First one is daddy issues. This could be either a low or a high, depending on who you ask. Like some people like, finding girls or things like that with daddy issues. Listen, I'm not here to say one way or the other. I'm just saying the stock is going down because typically daddy issues are assumed on, the daughters, right?
Women, sure.
Beauregard is the biggest daddy issues I've ever seen from a person.
God.
He just like won't stop making his dad out to be this hero, and every person around him, his wife, his dad's best friend, or maybe it was his cousin or his uncle or whatever. Everyone around him is like, your dad sucked. Your dad was the worst. And then and I was waiting for the flashback where you're like, oh, I understand why he likes him, because his dad did something for him that was so loyal, or something that built that trust that everyone doesn't realize. And this is why the duster is so important. Nope, there's nothing of that. It's just his dad picked him up, drunk drove him over to an ice cream place, and then he ran 3 people over, and then his dad blamed it on him.
You're forgetting the most important part, where his dad ordered him the wrong ice cream. He was like, yeah, you like strawberry. He's like, I've always liked chocolate. Nope, I've always... Dad,
He's like, you're really changing. He's like, nah, I've never changed.
Literally always liked chocolate. That's it.
I never got that. Why was he so defending his dad?
I mean, spoiler alert to the book we're reading with EVELYN HUGO, when she eventually, has that sex scene with Don in the movie. The French director is like, there has to be a reason why this woman loves this terrible person. And it's because
he wasn't terrible. He's a drug addict, but go on.
Okay, I get it. Yes. Wow. Thanks, Keith.
Have you not got to that part yet?
No, I have. In the movie, he's a drug addict. I get it. But whatever. My point is basically the reason why is because like he's great in bed and she loves to have sex, whatever the case is. But with Beauregard's dad, there's nothing. There's like no redeeming quality to him. He was not around a lot, and then left them completely. Doesn't even know his kids very well. And I understand it's part of the book itself. Like, you're waiting for Beauregard to realize that this man that you look up to, that you want to be, you can't be him because that's not a successful life. Like, he was not a good person. He was not a good father. And that's what you're trying to be. A man can't be 2 types of beasts. That's what he says. And that's something that he says throughout the book, but it's not about being 2 types of beasts. It's just being 1 type of beast, which is just a good father. So, which is funny because my stock down was being a bad father.
Can you buy that stock?
Yeah. Oh, it's purchasable. It's like it's on the penny stocks. You know, it's the pink slips.
It'd be like if you'd buy it if like your daughter or your son was Hitler, right? You'd be like, I'm buying being a bad father.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't want a good father for that person because they're terrible people. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
I talked my way into that stock. All right.
My stock down is law enforcement. I mean, I talked about it a little bit before about how there's just like not around because of this, you know, we crushed at the garage. Okay, it's over. And it really did feel like a GTA thing where it's like, you just keep driving around and eventually they'll go away because they're not around for one. This jewelry thing, they basically put on Jenny, the store clerk, who's just like, oh, she left. Her and her manager had a love affair and stole the diamonds. Like, what? That's not very good detective work at all. No one's knocking on doors. Beauregard's kid like shoots a guy in his front doorstep. Beauregard's been shot himself, and they're like in and out of the hospital as he's doing this job. There's no cops in there being like, what the heck is going on in this very small town? It's not a lot of people. That's the thing, is like when it comes at the end and Beauregard's like, all right, I got to take off. I thought it was going to be like, I got to take off because like the cops are going to catch us eventually.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
This all leads back to me and I can't have you guys involved. So I'm just going to hit the road. But instead it was like, I got to take off because like I can't lead this father life and I'm meant to be a criminal. And his wife's like, no, like just be a dad. He's like, you're right. Let's go back home and make supper. No cops are coming. So maybe they're not. Good for them. Cops down. See ya. What do you got for stock down?
Family humor or inside jokes with the family. Stock down. I love a good dad joke.
Love it.
I like some inside jokes with the family, you know. But Beauregard's family, and I already criticized his dad, but I think his mom's actually worse. His mom is just running wild at this nursing home. He's had to pay off the nurses or the people that take care of her multiple times because she's just such a nuisance there, and she's just like the worst person ever, apparently.
I kind of loved his mom.
No, his mom is the worst.
Was she worse than Tony Soprano's mom?
I don't even remember her.
Wow.
So probably.
Wow.
But she then, like, after she gets done criticizing the nursing home people, she criticizes Beauregard like multiple times, just shits on him, just the worst. And I understand why now he does all these criminal acts. He's like, oh, I got to keep her in this house. She can't live with me. She's just the worst. But back to the family member humor part. This is really what stuck out to me. His mom is like just chastising some nurse, being like, you should have blah 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 blah. Beauregard walks in and is like, I'm, you know, it sounds like things aren't going that well here. And she's like, yeah, if I had it my way, I'd blow up this whole fucking place and kill everyone with it. And then Beauregard's like, Mom, so funny. And she's like, it's funny about my mom. 1 second she could be like the worst, and the next second she's just making me laugh. It's like, wait, what? That's not the funny part. Wait, what? Like, she's actually going to do that. Like, it'd be funny if she was super nice to all the people and then said, I'm going to kill everyone in here. That's funny, right? You see that big change?
Yeah,
or if she was like really mean and the next second she says, you know, I really love everyone here. You know, this is like a real family to me. Because that'd be the different. It'd be the funny part. But there's no funny part of being a huge bitch to everyone and then also saying, I want to kill everyone here. What's the funny part of that? I don't know. Sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but what the hell?
I found it funny. And I found it funny you retelling it. It was even funnier.
That's what happened, right? I'm not making this up, right? I'm not crazy. Well, I'm crazy, but
Speaking of murdering people, that could have been another stock up for me, was being blasé about murdering people or people being murdered because of your actions. Because although the 3 guys that he killed in his dad's car, they weren't good guys, it was like a very graphic scene when they're talking about this guy's like leg hanging off sideways and shit like that. It was like, on top of that, they have the guy Quan shot at the jewelry store, and it's just like a throwaway line where when he's watching the TV, it's like, oh, that was the guy that I helped on the side of the road. And then it's like, honey, come to bed. He's like, all right, I'm going to bed. It's like, what? Like, you got $8,000 and this guy's like straight up
it was 80,000, but yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, 80,000, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, still. 80,000. All right, I take it back. You know what? That guy's life was not worth $80,000.
I don't know if you have another stock, but I have one that ties into that.
Okay, go on.
Stock down math. And this ties us way back to the first episode ever when I did something of a rant around math as well.
Okay. Holes we're talking about?
Yeah, holes. Back to holes. But stay in school, kids, or you'll end up like Ronnie. So Ronnie gets $750K, right, for the diamonds.
Yep.
He pays everyone off. He roughly is left with $500K. He says he could start wiping his ass with $10 bills now because he's gotten that money.
Okay.
But I did the math. Assuming he doesn't spend any money here, mind you. If he's taking a Roger Goodell, a.k.a. a shit, once a day, which must be nice. Some of us can't do that. And he's wiping on average of 2.5 times
Oh, that's
a day.
wait, 2.5
which,
sheets?
Again. No, yeah, which I think must be nice as well.
Yeah, no, let's say 4.
Oh, you think it's more? Okay,
yeah.
4. All right, well, the math changes and I have to do some different calculations. But I said 2.5. He's spending like $10K a year on just toilet paper. That's not a great investment, buddy. You're going to run out of that in 50 years, right? And now I'm not even taking into account that you have a food poisoning day or week. That's $1,000 a day, right? And wipes?
Yeah. No, yeah.
So what the hell is he talking about? He doesn't have this type of money.
Well,
so this is why you stay in school, boys and girls out there.
What you forget is that Ronnie is a big cokehead. And I've heard...
Does that back you up?
I've heard that binds you up. So, maybe he's...
You've heard of the grapevine?
I have heard through the coca leaf vine that... Yeah, that binds you up. So maybe he's only once a week. But either way, your math is if someone's wiping 2.5 times, like congratulations to them.
No, that's not me. I don't know what normal people do. So I was just throwing it out there.
Were you like at 100 and you're like, most people probably do 2% of this.
Yeah.
My last stock down is shitty tattoos. So I feel like we all have a friend.
This is another one that's going to be hard to buy in any scenario, but go on.
I don't know. Some people are really stuck with their shitty tattoos. I feel like we all have a friend that has shitty tattoos, or at least one or two. And some people know they're shitty. Other people don't. Mm-hmm. But Ronnie's full Elvis body is hilarious to me. And S.A. Cosby, like he said that he got the idea because a friend of his, when he was 18, went and got the Wu-Tang symbol on his back, like a full back. And years later, they're able to like joke about it and be like, yeah, that was a terrible tattoo. Like now you're stuck with that. He said his friend basically was like, well, at least it's not like an Elvis tattoo or something, which led to this idea of Ronnie having all different Elvises on him, from early Elvis to fat Elvis. And I just think that shitty tattoos are terrible, and hence why I still don't have any, because my biggest fear is getting a tattoo and then regretting it immediately. Let's get into love-hate. What do you got?
Love, I think you mentioned the opening scene was like Fast and Furious. I actually thought the opening scene was amazing. It was like set the stage for the grittiness of the whole novel. It also kind of set the stage that like, oh, this Beauregard dude is not some like moral superhero. He was like, oh, I'll murder you over disrespecting my driving skills, which I kind of liked. It was definitely a way different than we're kind of used to reading of a person. So I actually really liked the beginning and just the overall grittiness of the book in general.
Yeah, I think I criticized it a little too early when I texted you. I was like legitimately 10 minutes in, and it just wasn't really hitting for me because I'd watched Fast and Furious like fairly recently, and I was like waiting for Luda to like come out, or Vin Diesel to come out with the muscles, start pointing.
Family.
Yeah, which this book is a lot about family.
Yeah, it is.
But no, I agree with you. That first scene was good, and it also it built the character of Beauregard up really quickly into his like observancy skills or something, his ability to be like, okay, they're going to be at this local bar, like they have to be because it's the only bar in town, this is where the guy goes, like those guys definitely weren't cops. But I will say, talk about being observant, Beauregard knows when everyone has a gun on them. Like he was seeing bulges left and right. Like I would be scared for him at like a Chippendale show or something like that, because he would be so focused on all the bulges going on. He's like, that guy's got a gun on his hip.
I just figured that
out. He's like, he's got a gun on his hip and a gun on his ankle. It's like, how do you know? It's like the bulges.
Well done, sir. Well done. I was like, why would they have guns at a Oh, wait a second.
Oh, they got guns. Trust me.
Yeah. Cannons, if you will. It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you've ever read any of the Jack Reachers, but he kind of had that kind of reminded me of Jack Reacher, but what the book eventually ended up reminding me of was, have you ever seen Hell or High Water?
Have you read into this at all?
I kept on thinking the whole book, I'm like, oh man, this gives me such a Hell or High Water feel, and plus like a Drive feel. Have you ever seen that with Ryan Gosling?
Yep.
But literally the second answer on the audiobook at the end, he's like, yeah, I watched Hell or High Water. I was like, holy shit, I got chills. I was like, oh my God, this guy nailed it with that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you picked up on that because I didn't, and I love Hell or High Water. The end of the audiobook, which I love, some of these audiobooks have, and, they do a quick QA with the author, and he says he got a lot of inspiration from Hell or High Water. Speaking of which, my first love was a heist story. Is there... it doesn't even have to be good. And don't get me wrong, I think Blacktop Wasteland was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But is there a bad heist movie? Like, is there such thing as a bad heist movie? Or have you read a bad heist book? Well, I guess considering we both hated Artemis, that's a bad heist book. Well, actually, come to think of it, we read Mistborn, which is a heist.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that was another one that we did. Granted, it's like folded up into like a much larger story, which I guess this is too, because my second love, the way Cosby addresses race in here, it's definitely a big part of the book. It's something that we haven't talked about yet, and I don't think either of us is necessarily qualified to discuss it in any detail. But I just wanted to say that like it's important to have diversity in the books we read, and this coming from that area, it opened my eyes a little bit to like, hey, the books that we're reading, like they're all kind of like one narrative. This was a completely different perspective that we hadn't really looked at in any of the books we've read. And books are so much different than movies, which we also both love, because they really do give you the closest opportunity to walk in someone else's shoes, because you're in their head. You are in that person's head. Granted, you're not feeling the feelings that they're feeling, but you're seeing things through their eyes. So how many Confederate flags have both of us seen in our life, But when you kind of see it from his perspective, it was cringier. It was like way worse.
Yeah, I also think that what was good is that, like, in a movie, you typically just see one dude that's has a Confederate flag, and you're like, oh, and here's the racist guy, and it's just like one quick scene. Where this is like it's all around, and it, even though it's not fun to see it at any time, but it's just like, oh, there's different versions of it. There's different characters. There's different versions of redneckness. Yeah,
different grades.
That's portrayed, which is kind of interesting to see.
And also putting the story, like the setting of this story, being in a very poverty-stricken Virginia, like rural town, and both of us come from like mostly affluent, middle class Northeast. It's like, oh, okay, that's a different vibe.
Yeah, very different.
Whereas a lot of the books we read, which I love, don't get me wrong, is kind of fantasy related or absurd, where it's some guy shooting 30
this world sucks enough
people.
So we can it's good to get out of the world sometimes.
That's true.
that's what I like.
Did you have any other loves?
I also thought, like I mentioned earlier, the action scenes were super, super well written in terms of like
yeah, agreed.
I feel like car chase scenes would be impossible to write, but like I saw that car chase scene in my mind. I was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
And especially with him backing out, like reversing it to the thing and then dropping down and flooring it. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and when he's pulling the van, like into the van, like the van into the truck.
Yeah, that was
like,
super
oh
cool.
shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Have you ever seen The French Connection?
No.
Great movie, Gene Hackman, 1970, I want to say. But it's like the first crazy like cartridge. Basically the way they film it was like very new, because it like made you feel like I'm in the car, like a lot of strapped on cameras, like cameras strapped onto the cars and stuff like that. So it gives you that vibe where it's like, holy shit, this is intense. It's like Bullet or something like that. So I feel like Cosby, who says he's a huge car nut, he did a great job of that, because all those car chase scenes, which I feel like often move too fast and you're just kind of like, okay, that was over, like what happened there, he did a great job of explaining. So
yeah, that was it. The last thing was just the Duster. It was awesome.
You loved the Duster? I don't even know what the Duster is. I want it. The name is
It's a Plymouth
great.
Duster.
Okay.
Plymouth Duster.
I have to look it up.
Just the name. I mean, I kept on thinking too of It's Always Sunny, where they had the Duster, which is like the black like long jacket there.
Yeah. Okay, I see this Duster. It's a thing. I'm just not a car person.
If I had a car named the Duster,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be like, bro, don't touch the duster.
Don't touch
I'd
the
be
duster.
using it so much.
My first and really only hate is I thought the heist was lacking. I wanted more from it. The heist really sets up the rest of the movie, so that's why, or the book, excuse me. That's how good I think it is, because it's not a movie, you know. But the heist sets it up, and there's tons of other action scenes in there, which, you know, are fulfilling. But the way that he sets up for the heist, in terms of, okay, I went by there a couple times, you know, 2 days in a row, I got this, that, and the other thing. I just wanted, like, more shit to go down, I guess, or I wanted it to be more of a point of the story as opposed to like setting up for this whole backlash that happens. It's not really a huge gripe. I think it was enjoyable as it was, but I want something a little more Point Break, you know.
No, I hear you.
That's really all I had, though. It wasn't really a big gripe.
Yeah, mine were, so we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Beauregard not realizing that the businesses that's right in front of him. Boogie has a junkyard. Boogie has a junkyard, right?
Yep,
that
he sure does. We know that.
he can get cars from.
No, he can do anything. It's magical. It's a magical junkyard.
But then the business is literally right in front of you, Beauregard, right? He's sitting at his mechanic shop not doing anything. Go grab a couple of those cars. You're obviously very talented at rebuilding cars. Restart rebuilding them, and then go resell them in the open market. Like, he just said that the Duster is worth $25,000. So start doing that with all these cars.
Yeah.
This is like, it's right in front of you. The business. Have you seen the used car market right now? It's insane.
I didn't understand when he was souping up the car that he got so that he could do the heist. I was like, why don't you just sell it? Like, I was like, you probably get $15,000, like right there.
He's putting all this work into it, and then people look at it like, holy shit, this car's amazing, and I'm like, you're that's your talent right there.
Go to
like,
those
what are you
drag
doing?
races and
sell the
cars that you've created.
Oh, and the other thing was just right after the first scene got over, I was locked in. I was like, let's fucking go. Like, you know, he's gonna do the heist, right? But there was like 2 hours worth of book being like, I don't know, we need money. I'm like, bro, this book, we know the book's going there. Just get me into the heist already, you know? I was ready to lock in quicker. I also think he wanted to build like, hey, here's the culture of the world he's living in, not just be like, this is a heist book. So I understand why he did it, but I also I need more. I was like ready to go.
Yeah, that was a big point, I feel like, was him trying to build up the idea of the relationship he has with his wife and his kids, how he is a better father. Like, just embrace it. You know, you're there. You know, you're present. You know, like they say, whatever, 90% of the job is showing up. And you're doing that plus the other 10%. So you're almost there. You just need to not be focused on doing con shit. But at the same time, it also shows the dichotomy of the character. When he gets behind the wheel for the heist, he's like, now I feel it. Like, he's always looking for that, like, adrenaline pump. But he says he gets legal drag racing, so, like, just do the legal drag racing and get a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, take your methadone, don't take the heroin. Call it a day.
Or if he's that good of a driver, like NASCAR, like, you know, I don't know. Maybe just show up to a mask, be like, because NASCAR, all the people start out being mechanics, right, before you can drive, and he's already good at mechanics.
Is that a thing?
So.
I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah, like a lot of the dudes are like car people, and then they get a chance.
They're
to
all
race
like
eventually.
rich little white boys from podunk towns that drive go-karts when they're kids. Like, their parents buy them like $50,000 go-karts.
He could dust them, kid. He's
not a duster. Of course he can dust them.
Yeah. Imagine, if you can get away from the police, I mean, then riding in a circle's easy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe he needs to create a new sport, it's like GTA, but
Need for Speed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that.
That'd be a sick sport.
Yeah.
Like, the tail cars have to like come and like swerve and knock them out of the road.
Yeah, there's a helicopter flying overhead that chases the race, but they can't communicate with the police. But there's maybe one helicopter that can comes in if you've lasted for longer than 2 minutes, and it's like, okay, like, now you're really tight. Like, how do you get past this? That'd be fun.
I like it. It's a good sport right there.
All right, let's jump into favorite scene. What'd you have for favorite scene?
I actually thought the second heist was the best. I already kind of touched on this a little bit, but I just think it was super creative how he went about stealing the car, and then how they like drove into that van. And like I mentioned earlier, like, Bogart is what he's great at is the con man thing, where he's kind of conning people into not realizing where the cars went, or even the horse maneuver he pulled with Ronnie previously, which they only really briefly touched on. But that was cool as well. This is his real talent. It's driving and then the con aspect of being able to like plan out something. Like he should be at the head of these heists planning.
Or work for the feds or something. And, you know, in training, they have to do defensive driving. Something like this happened. He could be the instructor. But I actually agreed with you. It's funny. We both said the same thing. Was that second heist. It was great. And also the human aspect of it. And we got to give a shout out to our boy Kelvin, you know, R.I.P. But
favorite character.
Yeah,
I was about to say that, but go
Kelvin, on. The way that, you know, you feel the tension in that through Beauregard, because he's like, all right, keep your cool, don't do anything crazy, like say this, say that. He schools him up enough at the beginning, but there's only so much you can do, especially, it's almost like a Mike Tyson, you know, everyone's got a plan to take a punch in the mouth or whatever the quote is, but Kelvin's then getting an assault rifle pointed at him.
Kelvin was a sacrificial lamb. They're like, yeah, you're going to be the guy that goes out there and they might shoot you instantly, but they might not. Oh, if anything goes wrong at all, you're getting killed immediately.
And his job wasn't that easy. Like he had to convince them that he could go in the back and get a fire extinguisher and like put this thing out, and that like his girl's, you know, the next town over and she's mad at him and he needs to get home.
If Beauregard doesn't do everything perfectly, let's say like the guy honks, then he gets killed. Like everyone, you know, he's just immediately the first person to get to die. Kelvin is. So
yeah,
I was
Kelvin
like,
gets put out there because
big...
Beauregard can get away.
Yeah.
Like if the other guy's like,
right, yeah, exactly.
So what's going on in the van? Boom, done.
I was like, that's a tough thing to volunteer for, huh?
I also didn't really understand why Reggie was put at that gas station to like buy a 40.
That didn't make sense to me either.
Like,
why couldn't they drop the car off way before that? Why did it matter that he needed to drop it off right then?
Yeah, and also just put Reggie there to make sure that those guys show up there.
Do they need a license plate maybe? Is that they did a license plate swap or something?
Yeah.
But even then, still, like, what does a license plate matter?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to inspect that super closely.
And once again, in terms of planning, you're going to assume that those guys are going to touch base with Reggie. Hey, have you seen anything? And you're then, I mean, I can understand trusting Kelvin because he's a homie. He's my boy. But but you're trusting Reggie? Reggie don't got shit.
By the way, this reminds me of, like, Beauregard's like, when we do the robbery, you need to come straight. You can't be on any drugs, any alcohol. All these dudes are like Oxycontin addicts. You can't show up to a heist and then not just go cold turkey all of a sudden. Like you almost want them to do whatever you usually do so you can actually participate in this heist, right?
Could not agree with you more. Like you see these, you know, these old football players or whatever, or baseball players even, who needed to smoke a pack of cigarettes before a game or needed to take a quick bump before a game. It's like you're going to tell this guy, hey, I know, you know, you're a 750 slugging percentage and your on base is crazy, but this game, come in straight because you need to be straight. It's like, no. Whatever you need in the morning to get up, like do your normal routine. We're going into this with very normal vibes. So
you've heard that before, right? They had two coffee pots in baseball in like the 80s. They had one that's just coffee and the other one had meth in it.
Jesus Christ, I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was meth. It was like some amphetamine, you know, in it.
Yikes, no, I did not know that.
I don't know how you play baseball when you're like tweaking.
Yeah,
but...
well, it worked for Hitler's airmen.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it did.
All right, yeah.
They were flying.
Right,
the Battle of Britain was all fueled by methamphetamines with the pilots of the Luftwaffe. That's what I was like. I was going to say Lufthansa because I was thinking about the Lufthansa heist. But
that's the thing that you wash yourself with in the shower, right?
Yeah, close. That's just half of it. When you take a half dose, it's just a loofah.
Okay.
So I guess favorite character, I think we both like Calvin, right?
Yeah.
When he died, I was like, wow, this kind of makes the book, but fuck.
Yeah, I liked it, but I hated it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit. And also, now how do you explain this? Like, gets back to our previous point.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we know that your kid killed these guys that are with, I keep wanting to say Lucky, but what's his stupid name?
Lazy. It's like, what's his, Lucifer or Levidius or something?
No, it's Lazarus. So your kid killed those guys, and then now your cousin is like dead in this field somewhere. How are you not involved with anything? And there's got to be DNA evidence. Who knows? All right. I guess that kind of covers it, don't it?
Casting actors. I think this is going to be a movie, so I think we got to do it.
So it was John Legend's production company. They got the rights to it. I don't know whether they're making it or not, but sure, you can cast it.
I went for Beauregard. Did you cast anyone or not?
But I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, okay. For Beauregard, I went Jamie Foxx, who might be a little old, but he can play the gritty. Have you ever seen the one with him and Tom Cruise?
Oh, Collateral?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Of course I have.
I also liked, if it's not Jamie Foxx, he's too old. I think you just need a star guy for that. That can be gritty. I think Jamie Foxx can do that. But I did also like Corey Hawkins, who's the guy that played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton. I just liked him as an actor, so I think he could also play that gritty role there. For Kelvin, this is how I would change the movie a little bit. I would make him more younger and also make him like look up to Beauregard as like a father figure. And then I would make him a Southern kid, Donald Glover. So, and like also I think it would make it more impactful when he dies that he's like this smart young kid that looks up to Beauregard and then he gets killed because Beauregard like basically needs him on a mission. I think that would ring true a little bit more, but Donald Glover I think is kind of fits that role. And then lastly, Ronnie, I had James Franco. I feel like he can play that kind of Southern dirtbag well.
For sure.
And he's good. He's actually a good drama actor, so I think he'd actually fit well. I know he does a lot of comedy now, but
I feel like for lazy, I want like Liev Schreiber.
I feel like you cast him all the time.
I cast his brother.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a white trash dude.
Yeah, so what? He's big. He's big in...
Liev Schreiber is class. He played you can't have a guy that played the president in Manchurian Candidate also be
He's
fucking...
got range. He's got range.
You need I feel like you need like a West Virginia accent.
All right, well then I'll cast his half brother, or maybe his full brother, the guy from the Daisy Jones and the Six who I cast.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's the only
all right.
one.
Oh, and the Duster would be a character also.
Of course. Yeah.
It might talk.
We'll
in
get
the movie.
Lightning McQueen. What do you got for listener mail?
You've got mail.
John from Richmond, Virginia.
Johnny!
Right outside where this book takes place. Beauregard refuses to sell his Duster, which is valued at $25K, because of sentimental value. What items do you have that are most sentimental, and would you sell them for $25,000?
The only thing I own that's worth more than $25,000 is my house, but that doesn't really count, right?
Would you sell it for more than that?
I would, yeah. And would I sacrifice, I don't have a child, but would I sacrifice my dog for my house? Damn right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm cutting that part. You don't want that out there in the airways. We'll get canceled in a second.
Sorry, Bear, I love you. I don't really have things of value. I guess the only thing I have is like this stuffed animal I had when I was a child, which like...
I was going to say that. Holy shit. All right,
it's the only thing I have. Baby Bear, my boy. I still have that, which I've been holding on to for, if I do have a kid, it'll hopefully get passed on to them. But at the same time, if the kid drops it in the street or something and you can't get it or like throws it out of a car, I'm not going to like, as they say, toss the baby out with the bathwater. Like it'll be like, all right, I'm moving on. So yes, I would sell it for $25,000. It's a lot of money. You know how many more baby bears I can buy for $25,000? Yeah. I'm good. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. What do you have?
I guess it does speak to how undramatic our lives have been, that our like sentimental value things are teddy bears, because mine is also my teddy bear.
We're losers. We're such losers.
I brought my teddy to college, kid.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I said, I don't give a fuck if people make fun of me. I liked my teddy bear.
What's his
I don't
name?
know where it
What's
is now,
his name?
though. Teddy, of course. I got it when I was like 3.
Yeah.
But it did survive. We had it on the top of a car in a suitcase, and it fell off on the highway. It survived that. I got a chipped eye. It was fine, though. That's perseverance. But I was so upset when it happened.
That's straight like National Lampoon. We had it on a suitcase on the roof of a car. Yeah. Was it a station wagon?
I think it was like a van. You know those big vans that don't have like any trunk space?
Yeah.
But I would sell Teddy, unfortunately, for $25K.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the only other thing I could think of was like my like N64 or Super Nintendo, which like maybe you can't buy now, but I know you can probably get them on on the other Nintendo platforms. Because I'll tell you what, I brought my Super Nintendo up to my mom's place for the grandkids, like for my niece and nephew, and my nephew is obsessed. Like, it's
it's the best system
all
of all
about
time,
Super
so.
Nintendo. We've been playing Super Mario World. Kids going crazy for it. Crazy.
Oh, well, sorry. N64 is the best system of all time, but yes.
I mean, we couldn't play the other day, and he made me watch a YouTube of some guy doing walkthroughs of Super Mario Brothers.
Respect.
Like, wow, okay.
But yeah, I wish his dad, Bogart's dad, was just like, these pair of dye that I hang from my window mirror are sentimental to me. Like, this is what, like, or here's his license plate. That means a lot.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to keep the duster in order to remember him or whatever.
Also, is his dad still alive or is he gonzo?
Maybe the sequel he'll come back. I don't know.
Oh, is there a sequel?
I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think? Quick thought.
No, I think he got killed and they just don't know where he's buried in some unmarked grave somewhere.
I think he's banging some hussies in Vegas, but that's me. All right, well, would you recommend Blacktop Wasteland to a friend?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's if you like gritty. I was thinking of my buddy that really likes gritty movies. That's like David Fincher types. I think he would like this. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it should go in my top 10.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
honestly debating.
Okay, I agree with you there because I also enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it if someone's like, "Hey, I want a good book that's a quick read that's like keeps you entertained." Yes, this hits all of them. You know what I mean? Is it a beach read? Maybe. I don't know. It's close. It is
a little dark for beach read, but
Yeah.
I can see it because of the speed.
the
You
speed
can
of
read
it.
it. I agree.
But will it go in my top 10? I don't think so. We've read 35 books. It's definitely in close, but I think it just misses the cusp.
I'm going to debate it. Yeah, we'll see.
You are a master debater.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, well, next book, I guess.
Yeah, so
this is the one we already said we're
yeah,
going to
so
read.
we promise you. It's like what I say to my niece and nephew, and I promise them things, and then I don't do it, and I tell them again tomorrow. I promise them. I promise you, the next book will be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yeah, it should be a fun pod. So until next time, we'll see you then. All right. Bye now.
Bye now.